Hi, I'm Kara. I'm the one that wrote the email.
I'm Kenley.
And I'm Carla.
And we're sisters. We're also part of the third generation, the oldest of the third generation of family members that are here at Chacos Family Bowling Center.
I saw your video and I immediately forwarded it to my family.
After watching your video, it gave me a really good feeling. I got hope that there's someone out there that is wanting to see small businesses survive.
Like, we'll really get through this.
Yeah.
So before we get into anything else, we want to tell you a little bit about the background of our family business. It started in 1972. My grandfather had always worked for other bowling centers, and he one day sat down with his wife and they decided to open up a place of their own. So they kind of put everything they had together and they went to a bank to get a loan to secure a facility that was recently on the market. It just so happened that the day that they were signing the papers was the day before the Agnes flood hit in June of 1972. And the Agnes flood absolutely devastated the Northeast, especially Wyoming Valley. We hear stories about it all the time, and this is a really big part of how we became the workers, I think, that we are and the family that we are today. But from my father's perspective, and this is basically how we always heard the story, was that it was raining for days and days, and he was at the levees in Wilkes-Barre. He was 16 years old, helping to put sandbags up on the levees to hopefully keep them intact. But the history of the Agnes flood, there was no chance that was happening. So he remembers being in the rain, throwing the sandbags, and then someone yelling, the levees broke. And he just ran miles to his house because he was a teenager, and went to his family and knew what was happening, and they got out and did what they had to do. As things progressed and the area got flooded, a lot of people couldn't evacuate right away. So my grandfather, being the person that he was, he had a rowboat. So what he did was he helped volunteer to go to people's houses and get people out that weren't able to get themselves out. So now he knows he has this business that he just purchased the day before, and that it got totally destroyed. And he knew his family was safe, but the most important thing to him was to help his neighbors first. And I think that's pretty admirable and tells you what kind of person he always was. So that happened, and now you flash forward a little bit to after the flood, and I have my 16-year-old father and his brother, who's a year older, working with my grandfather to kind of gut out this new bowling alley that we just purchased. Teenagers, they're working, picking up mud and debris and dirt and equipment, very expensive equipment that got completely destroyed. Nothing was salvageable. They didn't have the money to hire people to do that, so they relied on their friends and their neighbors to come and help. And that was something that had to be done, and they did it. They worked daybreak to late at night just to get everything done so they could actually move forward. Eventually they did, and the business did well. I mean, now if we move forward a little bit more, I wasn't around when that happened and my sisters weren't, but when we finally were part of this, my dad always made sure that we knew every single part of the business. If this is going to be our business, if this is something that we're going to be a part of for the rest of our lives, we need to know how to do everything. No job was too small or beneath us. I mean, I remember dusting gutters on the lanes or wiping down tables. We used to cut rings when we would fill soda machines with the soda cans. We were just doing anything, and we wanted to. We wanted to help our dad and our grandfather, and that was important to know all those little things so eventually we could take on the big things.
One of those big things was realizing my grandfather's lifelong dream of building a location of his own from the ground up. Fast forward to 1998, we're about to break ground on our new center. However, the excitement is not without heartache. Just a few days prior to seeing his dream come to life, our grandfather passed away.
But we were able to work as a family and make this something I think that he'd be proud of.
Typically between bowling, bar, and restaurant, our business would see hundreds of people a day. Not only leagues, but also families, businesses, and so many amazing events. We are proud of the fact that we've become a place to gather.
Some of our favorites are the fundraisers because we get to give back to organizations and individuals in need of the community that always supports us.
Now, just to name a few: Big Brothers Big Sisters, Foundation 58, Special Olympics, Pens and Pins to support the United Way, the Relay for Life, the American Cancer Society, Juvenile Diabetes, the Epilepsy Foundation of Eastern Pennsylvania, Toys for Tots, and two very near and dear to our hearts, the Mary Beth Chaco Memorial Golf Tournament and the Stephen Chaco Memorial Bowling Tournament. Giving people a place to get together and events like these are really proof that a business like ours is invaluable to a community. This pandemic has crushed our business. This is a social business. People need to be by each other to do things. And while we totally support doing everything we can to keep people healthy, we need help too. We employ more than 50 people, full and part-time. We've continued to give our employees chances to work and make an income as much as they can during mandated closures. But even when we're open at 50% capacity, it's just not enough. The bills keep piling up. You know, we were forced to be closed March through June completely, then half capacity after that, which isn't even really half capacity because the time that it takes downtime to get people off of a lane and get it cleaned up and get people back on is way more than it used to be. And then there's a lot of people that are still afraid to come out, understandably. So it's even less than half capacity, to be quite honest. Same thing with the bar and restaurant. And now we were open for just a little bit and then mandated to be closed again during what would arguably be our busiest time of the year. It's just really tough. We've continued to pay our employees through this. We even did hazard pay in the very beginning because it was a dangerous time and we didn't know what was going on. Our staff are part of our family, so it's important to us to take care of them like we would our family, being that it's a small business. Now, that being said, we're getting overloaded with bills, okay? We have all those regular ones, your electric, we have your mortgage, gas, insurance, garbage, water, we have ASCAP, our phone, internet, you know, all these bills. And by the way, let's not forget our taxes and the late fees that are getting added on to those when we are not open because we can't make the payments. So, you know, we don't just leave a lot of money sitting around that we're able to survive something like this. My dad, my aunt, my uncle have put in a lot of their personal stuff to keep things going, and I think we just need a little bit of help, okay? Looking at all those bills and all the time that I know my dad, my grandfather, and everybody put into this business and all the feeling from their lives, it's just tough. I mean, in a current month, we see bills between payroll and everything else around $55,000. Honestly, asking it all is heart-wrenching because we certainly prefer more to give, but our entire family has put our lives into this business. It's a staple to us. We've worked too hard to hang on to what we are, to have to lose it all now, out of our control.
We want to thank you for your consideration and everything you're doing for small businesses. This means a lot to us, not just on a business level, but on a personal level too. Our dad doesn't actually know that we're doing this right now, but he's put so much of his life into this business for us that we want to do what we can for him because this is all he has.